Hey there fellow adult collectors, welcome back. David Eon here with yet another MEZCO unboxing, and this is for the Netflix Punisher, and this one also is a gift from LPH. Thank you so much, LPH. She gave this to me, and I have a little history with the Jon Bernthal Punisher because I had been trying to get this one. I had two failed attempts to acquire this figure, which I'll tell you about here in a moment. We'll go ahead and get started right off opening this up. See, I originally had him on a pre-order, and the pre-order was canceled. Then I got him from Amazon Fulfillment Services, and he was supposed to be a brand new figure, and I did not get a brand new figure. There is the Punisher in the packaging, and we're going to be taking him out and taking a look at his accessories and testing his articulation here. What I got was, and you may have actually even seen this in a video because I showed it in a video, Jon Bernthal's head on Frankenstein's body. Someone kit-bashed it and returned it to Amazon, stole all the parts. And there he is. And we're going to go ahead and take him out of there and set him up and take a look at all of his accessories and test his articulation. Here's what's underneath. And let's go ahead and cut away to that. And here we are back with our Jon Bernthal Netflix edition Punisher out of the package. And, you know, right off I gotta say that's not a bad likeness at all. You know, there's sometimes they nail it and sometimes they don't with likenesses of actual people, and I think this one is pretty close. I do like how that came out. Taking a look at his costuming, his outfit so far looks okay. As we travel down here and take a look at the entire figure all the way around. Clothing can sometimes be a problem because it can be a hindrance to the posability of the figure. And if his neck looks discolored, that's because it still has the paper wrapped around it. I haven't had a chance to pull it out yet. Thin body type on this figure, as opposed to the comic book versions that they've done in the past. I like how he's got spots on his belt all the way around for all of his equipment. But yeah, not a super muscular body on this one, and that's okay considering who this is. Jon Bernthal, some people really like his version of the Punisher, some don't. I think the biggest issue is Jon Bernthal's physical size, because in the comic books the Punisher is a very large character, and Bernthal is not a 6'4", 240-pound bodybuilder type. But I think his attitude, the way he portrays the character, really hits the mark. Let's take a look at the accessories and then we'll get him down from there and take a good look at his posability. This, of course, is your minigun. Barrel does turn. I don't think anything else on this moves. And he rarely used to this, didn't he? I only saw him with it a couple of times, if I recall correctly, because I did watch the series. But they gave him the minigun. It does have holes in it for if you wanted to make it shoot, because those are provided. May as well just go ahead and show you that while I'm holding it. This is a single shot from firing a pistol, I imagine, and then the triple shot one, which probably would be more appropriate for the minigun. The belt for the minigun, but the belt has nowhere to go. Usually You would think that there would be a bag or something provided for this, for the ammo to be fed out of, but you don't have one here. 112 collective bag, the posing arm for in case he's jumping out of a window maybe. 2 reaching or grasping hands with some pretty decent detail on them. Often these hands are sculpted very well. 2 trigger finger hands, very appropriate. And then 2 grasping hands, I guess so that you can put the knife in either his left or right hand. Those openings look like they're 2 different sizes to you. Maybe it's just the angle. An extra head. A really beat up head. He's already got a beat up head, but this is a super beat up head. And I do appreciate that you can actually see him. I just did a review of the Netflix Daredevil and they do not provide an unmasked face. And I don't know what went wrong with that. Maybe it was a licensing issue. But I was disappointed that there was not an unmasked version of the head and a lack of accessories with the Netflix Daredevil. And this is kind of short on accessories as well. There's more, but it's still not as much as you would typically expect from a MEZCO 112 figure. Here's a K-bar, traditional K-bar. There's his 45, and the magazine does come out. You can see the round in there. That's a nice feature. And pistol, revolver, and the chamber does revolve. It does turn. I can turn this physically. And then the trench coat. And I'm not a big fan of the trench coats when they provide them. I don't always use these because the material is kind of fragile. These tend to shred and flake, and I don't want to have to deal with it. Although this one does have wires in it, so you can pose it flowing. See? You should be able to flex that and give it a billowing effect. Another thing also is once you get these jackets on to these figures or these leather coats, it restricts even more of the posability of the figure. So for those reasons, I'm kind of on the fence about the leather coats. Let's get them off of there. And again, you know, this is something I bring up. Somebody mentioned this in the last video that they're glad I always bring this up. This stand works well. Often the pegs don't work very well with these figures. The hole in the boot is either too big or too small, or the ankle is really weak. Like you see, this ankle is in good shape. The ankle's weak and the figure falls over all the time. Something that they've gotten better with as time has worn on, but it's worth mentioning. Well, first of all, we're going to change the head right away because I want to get that paper off of his neck. There we go. It's stained. See that? It's stained from the material. That's a common problem with these, where if you see, he's got paper on his arms too, and that's to prevent staining on the arms. See that? I'm not going to take that paper off his arms. I'm going to leave it for the obvious reasons that these figures, their bodies can and will be stained by the material, by the dyes that are in the fabric of the materials their clothing is made out of. Something to be aware of that doesn't come up too often. Let's put the other head on. You know, I may even put that sleeve back just to protect the neck on this one. I don't know if it matters that much. And the head change isn't bad. It's only a single function head. You know, it's not a double jointed neck, unfortunately. So he cannot look up, only forward, down, side to side, and turning. So that since it's only a single jointed neck, that does offer restrictions. Arms, this should be easy because of the type of fabric. Those shoulder joints are real tight though. That's very tight shoulders actually. Barely wants to move. Thin body type. Come on. Look at this. The elbows don't want to bend. And you got to be careful. I don't want to snap an elbow because it's being turned the wrong way or something. But wow, these elbows joints are tight. And it's a single jointed elbow, but that is very tight. Wrist rotation and turning is good. We'll change a hand out. And give him a trigger finger. Hand change isn't bad, and that's something that they've gotten better at as well, because the wrist joints, the pegs are getting larger. This one though is acting a little funny. If you watch carefully here, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually stretching like the wrist is a rubbery material. They've made the pegs a little thicker recently because they used to break so often, but this one is like softer than normal. And so when I pulled his hand off, you could actually see that stretching, and that's a concern to me. Ab crunch, it probably isn't going to be there because of the vest. And yeah, this torso is not going anywhere. Usually there's a split under the ribs, as you know, and you can get an ab crunch, not with this figure. And you're not getting a side-to-side tilt either, except for at the hips. So that's right out. Splits, hindered by the belt. Backward leg motion is really high, actually. That's pretty high for a standard action figure. Look at that. He could mule kick somebody. Forward seated split. Double jointed knee, of course. That's good. No twist at the calf. The twist is going to be in the ankle. Forward and backward motion, that's actually not bad. And then tilt is somewhat limited. That one's a lot looser. Look at the tilt on this one as opposed to the tilt on the right leg. That's interesting. This one is looser. And there you go. That's your basics. Let's go ahead and get him down in the museum with the other MEZCO 112 figures and pose him up and see how he looks. Just an interjection here before we get back. Tried putting the coat on him, and I just want to show you what this looks like. Now I haven't put his hands on yet because you can't put the coat on while the hands are on. You've got to remove them. But the bulkiness of the vest and all of the equipment on the belt, and I haven't even put anything in these yet, make it so that you can't even really get the coat on him anyways. Look how like wide and chunky that looks, and the collar also very difficult to work with. It looks cheap. I mean, I'm sorry, just being honest here. The coat just doesn't look right on him. There's too much going on already. If you could remove the vest and the equipment so that it fit better, maybe it would look better, but this just doesn't look good, and of course it's going to really restrict the motion of the arms anyways. But yeah, that just doesn't look right to me. And I just wanted to point that out. You know, maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit, but it looks very bulky and uncomfortable to me. And I just wanted to show that. But let's go ahead and get him down to the museum. And here we are back down in the toy museum. Headed over to the MEZCO 112 section. And here we are, the new home of our John Bernthal Netflix Punisher, aptly placed next to the Netflix Daredevil, set up in a pose, or as much of a pose as I could do with him, since his torso is almost completely restricted. And you see he has a shotgun there, and that is not his shotgun. that is actually John Wick's shotgun. I borrowed it out of his war chest. And by the way, I just did a review on the John Wick not too long ago. If you guys have one of these, those trays, once you set them in, are very difficult to remove safely. Keep that in mind before you accidentally break one. I had a lot of trouble getting those trays out. Just saying. It's another thing to gripe about with the John Wick, I guess. A lot of people weren't too happy with this figure. But back to the main point, the John Bernthal Punisher. I mean, overall, I like the figure. I like the fact that you can actually see his head. That was a big complaint of mine with the Netflix Daredevil. He does not come with an unmasked face. I don't know why. But he looks good. It would have been nice if he had a different expression. This is essentially the same head as the other one, only more scarred up. Same look, same expression, but with more scars. He did not come with too many accessories. Something that ties in, of course, again with the Daredevil, who came with the fewest amount of accessories of any MEZCO figure I've reviewed. Really. And that's saying something. But overall, I do like the figure. I like the way he looks. You can still get a lot out of him. I do not have a classic Punisher. Are you lucky enough to have one of the classic Punishers? One day I'll end up with one. And I'll do a review of that. But I'm pleased with him overall. Finally got him. As I pointed out, there was a struggle getting this figure. Do you have this one, or are you considering it? Has this review helped you to make up your mind one way or the other? Let me know what your thoughts are about this figure in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. I hope you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. I like him with the shotgun, actually. Please do check out our other videos. I've done a lot of reviews of MEZCO figures, of 6th scale figures. I just did the Mondo Man-at-Arms, actually, as well as showcases of various vintage action figures, toy discussions, and a lot more going on in this channel, so we hope you'll join us. And what more can I say, folks? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.